get started. All right. So I'm super excited to catch up with you because we haven't talked in a long time, like we mentioned. And I just want to kind of give people a little bit of insight into you and, your life, like just your regular life too. So like, tell me about your hobbies. Tell me about what you like to do.
Right. Yeah. My hobbies, I would say it's design. And I got some interest in design around 10 or more years ago. And that started from fashion design. And I even went to London to get a couple of courses at Central St. Martin Design School. And it was
Wow.
introductory to introduction to fashion and later introduction to interior design. And then I started focusing more on interior design, more on gardening design. And now it goes in parallel with another hobby. It's UI UX design, which actually I'm doing for my job. So that's very exciting to have hobby as your permanent job assignment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you must really enjoy your
Yes,
job
I
now.
do.
That's great. That's
Definitely.
very cool. Okay. Well, speaking of marketing, tell me how you transitioned from fashion to UX.
Well, myself, I was working in marketing and that's strategic marketing. So actually design as a hobby helped me to make this bridge from strategic stuff, data analysis, marketing research, understanding consumer behavior into more funny stuff such as designing creative campaigns, designing mobile apps. And that's not only me who's doing that, that's a whole team behind, but still it's great to be involved in that type of projects. And I think the most prominent thing here is that we're not just working on design as we feel it subjectively would be nice look and feel, but we strongly base it on data, on research, on data science. And then after something beautiful is created, we test it again. And that gives a quite solid background to what is happening and whether the customers would really enjoy it or not.
That's amazing. So how do you think you made that bridge though? Like from, hey, I enjoy design in general to I want to go into the tech world and I want to help design apps and things like that. Was there a specific skill that you interviewed with that was really stand out?
Well, I think the most important in current daily life is to have multiple skills because it's the most successful scenario when you actually can be in a couple of areas at the same time, because there are many specialists in each area. But now what is happening in business, people are trying to find those bridges between, for example, technology and design, between research and creativity. And that's actually what happened with me. I was in epicenter of different projects and we found lots of new ideas how to combine, for example, a creative process being based on the service. So understand what people do like, what kind of preferences they have, not even just by asking about those preferences, but by measuring. For example, kind of projects we do is neuroscanning. We scan the brain activity and understanding
Wow.
what people really like and what they don't like. And then based on that, we not only depends on their recall saying, oh, that's good, that's bad, but we see how their brain is reacting. And that allows to see where you go. And of course, when you develop this kind of skill, this kind of competency, you involve more people for different areas. And what we're facing now, for example, before research, classic research, it was how to ask the question properly. And now it's more how to get information without asking questions at all, if possible.
That's fantastic. That's so interesting. Because do you find that people, when they say one thing, their brain tells you another story?
Happens quite often, less
Yeah.
probably in Dutch society where everyone prefer to be quite straightforward. But as you know, in many Asian cultures, it's not very polite to say no. So every time you ask whether you like this, people may say, oh yeah, definitely, it's quite
Yeah.
good. So that helps to fight with the problem of social desirability. You want to be nice, you want to say polite thing, you don't want to abuse anyone by giving negative feedback on the one hand. And second, person can be confused about own feelings and might have some difficulties with expressing what he or she really likes. Like that's a high level of stress we can see and high level of interest. So what does it mean? We look at these indicators that we get from this survey and we can add some interpretation. Of course, recall is not completely evaporated. We need recall, we need person explanation on what she feels to understand better the reaction. But sometimes we understand that physical reaction can bring us more valuable insight than just answers.
Yeah, if you get goosebumps, or what do they call them here? Chicken pimples or something. Yeah, so if you see that and then you see the reaction and then you hear them say, no, it's not interesting, you're like, well, something's going on.
Mostly you deal with reactions when people say, yeah, it's nice, but then you see that they are bored and they're not really interested in.
Right. It's the way they say.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more you can get just from probably either video or in person than you could just by the numbers, or just by the Google Analytics, or just by even the heat map, right? Even that probably can tell you a lot less than seeing it in person.
It's very important to take the data as a whole and try to combine different sources of data, because Google Analytics is something brilliant, but of course you can add up more data on that. You can understand a lot from qualitative surveys where people tell about their journey, but you can also understand from some measurement how many clicks, for example, they do to perform a target action in your application. So the trick is to take as many sources as possible and to combine them into the whole and complete picture.
Yeah, absolutely. I should back up and actually have you introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure.
Tell me, just obviously you do UX and things like that, but tell me, how long you've been in the industry, maybe the company, if you feel like sharing, anything about yourself you like to share.
Sure. So I'm working in marketing for the last 20 years. I have come to marketing from HR because by my education, I'm a psychologist, and HR consultant was something where I start my career. But then I quickly realized that I'd like to do something more active, energetic, and marketing actually fits perfect. So my name is Olena, and I'm a marketing director in a group of companies, Factum Group, and I'm a director of one subdivision of this group here in the Netherlands. It's Digitum. So what we do a lot of research, and we do a lot of digital stuff. So basically trying to combine research with further development into marketing campaigns that are pretty much based on MarTech solutions. So we try to combine marketing and technology, and not only trying to do that, but we actually combining them in order to make the digital campaigns not only beautiful and looking good, but also effective, and see in terms of measurements that they do work and they do bring the results we want them to bring.
Very cool. And do you work with any particular industry the most, or just kind of any company?
Work a lot with financial industry, with fintech companies, with banking industries, but also a lot with B2B companies, also B2C retail companies, where we help with design, with development. So literally our expertise currently is covering everything from research to IT projects, and that makes us very international, since we're able to help countries from different companies from different countries all around the world, from Far East to the US. And one of the one of the branch that we're actively developing now is gamification. So actually that's a brand new trend, and it's obvious that you can gamify pretty many things.
Yeah.
First of all, customer experience. You can bring some fun, some activity, some competition, some collection process. You can, of course, gamify sales process, and that pretty much refers to any industry. As long as you have salesperson, you can gamify this salesperson, and you can help to compete against others. And finally, another trend that's more established in the market, you can gamify learning and training process, but also consuming of some marketing information by your customers. So not just consuming some content you create, but consume them in some gamified way, gaining some scores or some budgets for that in order to make experience even better and make customers even more engaged.
Yeah, and I love that idea, because I'm kind of a big kid sometimes, where I will happily go swing on a swing if I want to swing on a swing. as long as there's no children. um,
As we are all,
yeah, and
absolutely.
I love that. I love that people are realizing that it's okay to have a little bit of fun, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, now see
Um,
how the large scale banks, they are looking into this gamification and they're implementing it, and it's really working. Have so many successful cases where actually the sales were just jumping up high just because people were given some additional rewards, not necessarily material, but sometimes just recognition,
yep.
achievement. That's where psychology actually helps to design this kind of programs.
Yeah.
And that works very well. And that's the new trend. And the more millennials are coming into business, the more fun, the more engagement we should be thinking about.
Yeah, I think that started with even the Z generation, because they were always, you know, talking about, you know, I don't want to be adulting, or I don't know
Right,
where that started,
right.
but when that started, like I
Yeah,
have to, you know, I have to adult today, like it was a difficult thing, but it doesn't have to be. It can be both. It can
absolutely.
be-
Absolutely. And the current situation pretty much stimulates it. Instead of burnout, many people have now bore out. So actually gamification is helping. It makes you more engaged and makes your experience a little bit brighter in your everyday work from home life.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, it must be really important to keep people engaged when they're not in person, you know. Especially
Absolutely.
in Europe now, we are going back into lockdowns all across the continent. So, but I think that'll be important because people are really transitioning to hybrid working, and so having that
Absolutely.
interaction on a regular basis is going to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
maintained for sure. So tell me, where do I want to take with you next? There's so many questions I have.
Yeah, shoot.
Um, have you ever had a mentor?
Um, well, I didn't have a mentor, but I actually was trying to follow a lot of courses, a lot of new stuff that's appearing everywhere. And my MBA education really helped me with getting some cross-cultural experience. And from that stage, I quickly jumped to being mentor myself. I was
Okay.
mentoring quite a lot and being a guest speaker for Netherlands Institute of Marketing in a number of countries, teaching about strategic marketing, consumer behavior, market research. So I do believe in the concept of mentor, though I didn't have a mentor myself.
No, and that's exactly why I want others to have it, because I didn't have one either. That's probably your motivation too, a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and because you know it helps, and I think you know, we would be potentially in a better place more quickly had we had that kind of support. So
Completely agree with you.
yeah. Did you have any cool stories from mentoring, like people that you brought up from, I don't know, your company, or any special experiences that you had?
Well, I think it's very exciting to do that work in different countries with different people because the culture is something that really impact the interaction. And
Mm.
first you have to adjust to the culture and then probably you can proceed. So I don't have any bright case, but I feel that every time it's important to make a good bridge, to make a good emotional connection. Otherwise, people cannot be interested in what you're saying if they don't trust you.
Yeah, they won't listen. They won't do the work or
Right.
anything. Yeah, yeah. Well, then I already know why you became a marketing mentor, because, but is there another reason, or you're just that kind and you like helping people?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of helping people. I like to do a lot of presentations, a lot of kind of mentoring, guest speaking. So that's something that I enjoy.
Awesome. And what kind of you know, expertises do you feel are your favorite, your best, your, you know?
Yeah, I think considering my very extended experience in research, that's something that refers to consumer behavior, to understanding customer, to defining personas, to know what people think, why they do this or that things, jobs to be done in terms of future steps, segmentation. That's on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's everything related to analysis of the marketing environment, whether it's external environment or internal environment of the company, competitive analysis to understand and how you can do better than your competitors. Where are your strong points? Where are your weak points? How to change weaknesses into strengths, etc.
That's a challenge, isn't it? Do you think that people should improve their weaknesses more than they work on their strengths?
It depends, because it's not only weaknesses and strengths, but also you have to deal with threats and opportunities, as we all know from SWOT analysis. And sometimes you can have quite big weaknesses, but you can have huge opportunities. So you can make a good mix of that and thinking how you can adjust to the situation. Or sometimes the weaknesses are just so huge that maybe you should reconsider what are you doing now and start something new.
Oh, that's a big that's a big thing, right? Like, I'm working in UX right now, but maybe I should be a designer.
By the way, many people were making such a turn recently, especially during lockdown time, when they start thinking of what exactly I should be doing, and if this is what I'm doing now is quite good or not. So how many people make a turn to their businesses, opening the new directions of their business, or how many didn't adjust and were suffering from the situation. So you have to be quite open about analysis of your own strong points and your own weak points, and also to see what's happening in environment currently and to adjust every time. So it's not like something you do at the setup. Okay, here I am, here I work forever. No, you have to be very flexible.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way anymore, right?
No, absolutely not.
Especially not in marketing, because with technology and the changes in psychology, the changes in the way we work and all these things, they constantly change.
Yeah, it's a topic of change management that was very popular already 10, 20 years ago, but now I think it's extremely important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they forgot about it back then. Now they're like, oh yeah, we have to remember how to do that.
Yeah.
So then how would you recommend any particular, I don't know, method of maintaining that agility and gaining new experience?
Be open. Just be open to what's happening all around, read a lot, see what the trends are, and talk to interesting people. Just always try to find who is better than you in that area, and try to get connected and share experience and see what you can learn.
Yeah, the connection thing is huge. That was one of the biggest things I wanted to do when I moved here a few years ago, was I want to meet other people in the industry.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, speaking of learning, do you have a favorite, website or podcast or person that you listen to or follow?
I'm not a podcast person, but I'd love to review different websites and see what's happening there. And sometimes you can gain quite a lot, even from LinkedIn. You just look at the feed and you see what's new technologies, what's happening. And since all the technologies already identify me as a digital marketeer, so I've got a lot of information on digital marketing. So very helpful, and I can quickly be on track with what is going on in the world. I wouldn't limit it myself to one particular website. I think the more sources, again, you have, the better you're prepared.
Yeah, there's a lot out there too. Like I get so many emails on a daily basis. I cannot read them all because like you say, there's so much constantly changing and constantly out there. And just taking what you can and what's most important to where you want to go, probably.
Yeah, but well, I wouldn't say email is a reliable source of new information for me, but mostly
it's very
industrial
central.
Yeah. So probably I would rather choose which information I want to consume rather to expect everything that's ended up in my mailbox.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I've signed up to a bunch of them, so I voluntarily.
Right.
But yeah, I get too many now. That's for sure. I do the same, actually. I definitely scroll things like LinkedIn and see what people are talking about and find out what's going on, in the industry, in the local area, that kind of thing.
What are the news in your local area then?
Sorry?
Any news from your local area?
Well, my new local area,
Yeah. I'm just wondering.
I'm working on that.
All right.
So hard to find information in the Netherlands about what's going on. So you have to kind of really dig and find these places. There's like an Instagram account and there's some Facebook groups and things like that. So I try to stay on top of.
Yeah, many apps, by the way, to connect you to your neighbors, like next door.
Oh, they have that here now, huh?
Yeah, just download the app, register your address, and you would hear everything, at least about missing cats in the area, but sometimes more exciting events and business opportunities. I would say that even small districts here, they would have some business talks and they have some events. So you can find either through Facebook groups, and probably it exists in your district as well, or through Nextdoor or some other kind of neighbor applications.
Huh. I had no idea. All right, I'll have to check out and see if anyone actually uses that here. Like I said, it's a lot of elderly people around here. I'm not sure it's used.
You never know. Just give it a try.
Yeah. Okay. I know you have to go, so I want to ask, what is the best advice you've ever received or want to give other marketers?
Well, the best life advice I ever had is never make a happy child happier. But
okay.
But speaking about job advice, I think it's just never stop. I mean, I'm a perfectionist myself, and the more I look into the product, the more I think how it can be done better. And if I made some presentation about something a year ago, I would rather revise it every time I need to present again and say, maybe I can adjust it, maybe I can make it nicer. And I think combined with being open to what's going on around you and trying to improve would make you a better person and, of course, a better marketeer at the end.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, learning is so important. One of my favorite hashtags is always be learning.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got it from, if I just did it, or if I got it from always be closing from that movie 30 years ago. But it's so important, right? Especially like we said, because it's always changing.
Yeah. Especially now.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope everyone enjoys really getting to know you a little bit better and about what you're doing in the industry. I think it'll be really valuable for people. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah.